सखे है केशी मदन मुदारं रमय मया सह मदन मनोरथ भावितया स्वीकारम् सखे है केशी मदन उदारम्.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. This seems like a great initiative, and I really appreciate you thinking of me. And yeah, I'm embarking on this new phase, and the past 9 months have also been a journey in and of itself. And I am how I'm feeling is with filled with anticipation. I'm nervous, but also very excited, and I think that I know to expect the unexpected. So that's kind of, where I am right now. Yes, so critical dance studies is what I'm endeavoring to get my PhD in. It is a field where we look at the intersectionality, which means the coming together of multiple fields as they relate to dance. So when I look at Bharatanatyam, it's not just about what happens on stage, but it's about how politics, about how society, economics, about gender, race, class, caste, everything actually feeds into the pedagogy, the performance, everything that we know the dance to be. And so that's kind of what critical dance studies means, is to look at dance as not just appreciating it, not just performing it, but also being critical about what how it's transmitted and how it's performed. I used to go to Chennai to learn from Professor Sudharani Raghupati, and I also have learned Carnatic music since even before that. And so I've kind of always been interested in going the academic route because my dance teacher, my guru's school, she always called it a research institution. We'd always kind of have a holistic training. She always looked at, Sanskrit, like learning the Sanskrit side by side with the, Adavu and with the dancing. And while I kind of, didn't appreciate that when I was a young kid that just wanted to move around, as I grew older, I kind of always was drawn to seeing how Bharatanatyam would be in an academic setting. And so this was a next step for me that I've always wanted to do. The fact that there are dance departments in the United States that study this, and that I can focus on Bharatanatyam with the help of faculty, I feel really lucky to be able to do that now. I think it's changing how I look at how dance is transmitted. So how we teach dance, right? So how multiple factors need to be taken into consideration when we teach dance, and also how the perspective with which we choreograph and perform, right? So it's what lens are we looking at something through? Are we taking into consideration class? Are we taking into consideration the inherent politics that may be ignored otherwise? So those considerations are now percolating through my process, my artistic process as a whole. And right now, I think there are a lot of discussions in Bharatanatyam about the politics surrounding it. And I think that it's a really valuable time to be thinking about like I said, intersectionality, the coming together of all of these different fields. I just think that the more perspective you look at thing, the more you change. I think evolution as an artist comes naturally, right? As you change, your art will also continue to change, and each experience will change you. So motherhood will probably change me. Even these 9 months of carrying a child has changed me and how I look at my body, right? And so I think that each experience should change you. I kind of allow it to change me, and so I think that in that way, I think being able to go to classes, graduate school classes with students that are coming from other art form, like experiences with other art forms, and discussing these perspectives certainly is affecting my outlook as it relates to politics and dance, dramaturgy, right? And how I approach choreography, like as a whole. And I don't know if I can tell all of that now, but definitely, over the next few years, I'm hoping that this evolution will continue. I started learning music since before I started learning dance. And so that connection between music and dance has always been really important to me. It's part of my family. And I think that being able to connect that, being able to see how these art forms historically have connected and how they may or may not connect now, and where I can bring in that connection. That's also part of my like next step in my journey for sure. Yeah, I was actually just talking about this earlier today. About the Natya Kala conference this year was convened by Rama Vaidyanathanaka, and I was really lucky to perform an Alaripu for it. But I ended up, I was pregnant. I was about 20 weeks pregnant during the performance, and it was just a few minutes. I checked with my doctor. Um, about the movements and everything, but it was something that it's somewhat controversial to be dancing, particularly on stage when you're pregnant. And many times I really doubted my physical body to be able to do that.
கொடுமையை எதிர்த்து நில் ரௌத்ரம் பழகு ரௌத்ரம் பழகு தாம் ரித்தாம் தெய் ரத்தை ரத் ரி கிட்ட ரக்கரம் ரித்தாம் தெய் ரத்தை தத்தரி கிட்ட தக்கத்தாம் ரித்தாம்
And so it was kind of this challenge, right? Because I was like, should I do this or should I not? And I do think that also this is something that points to perhaps the dearth of opportunity for Bharatanatyam dancers and maybe I was acting on a scarcity and thinking like, oh, when will I be able to do something that's like this again? But then on the other side, I got to do a project that I found very empowering, along with my collaborators who were amazing and very sensitive. Harini Jivita, Christopher Gurusamy, Radhe Jaggi, and the person who did Natvangam for me, Sashireka Balasubramaniam. We did this Alaripu that was used Bharatiyar's poetry, which I felt was responding to the politics of today in India, especially. I felt like I was doing something really empowering, even like especially being pregnant. And so it was this dual thing happening where I was like, should I be doing this? But then also, even with that self doubt, I felt like I was really learning something and feeling very empowered. And so I don't think there is a right answer, and I think that's the first probably lesson in pre becoming a parent that I have learned, that I may question this decision 20 years from now too, but there is no correct answer. I think it depends on who who you are at that time. Yeah, so I think so a lot of people have, like, from my teachers to my parents, but I think that from my childhood, like as someone who went to India and studied dance, I'm thinking of my maternal grandfather, my tata, whom I used to stay with when I would study under Sudha Aunty in Chennai. He was a very good Carnatic vocalist, but I think he knew, because he wanted to support his family and everything, that he couldn't pursue at the time, early on in his career, career in Carnatic music as well. And so he started first an export fabric business, which then became a store that is still thriving, called Kalpadruma, where he sold handicrafts and fabrics and clothing. He passed away now, but the store continues on. And so he was a role model to me, because I found that he didn't just support one art; he supported a lot of arts. So the idea that he was very passionate about music, he extended that to fabric and handicrafts and craftsmen of India, right? And so that support kind of extended, and he constantly was very involved in singing, and when he was not able to, even though he was not able to perform. And so I would kind of look at him with wonder when I was a child, learning Manodharma, learning improvisation in Carnatic music, and he would sing ragam with me, or he would sing like Shankara Bharnam, and I'd be like, Tata, that's amazing. It's so hard. And he would be like, really? He would be disbelieving of even his abilities, because he just didn't see it as something that was possible for him to do. But he found a way to support the arts. And I think after he passed away, we have a concert series in honor of him.
Yeah.
And looking at him helped me to think, okay, I also want to provide a platform for choreography, which is what I started to do with a choreography festival with some collaborators in San Francisco called When I Speak. This festival kind of puts Indian choreography also on trying to put it on the level of, contemporary dance and things like that, because sometimes Indian dance can just be written off as ethnic, right? And so instead of just boxing it like that, to put Indian choreography and showcase its wide range of material, that seemed to be a valuable thing for me to do. So also, giving people an opportunity to share art was something that I really learned from him, and that there are multiple ways to be involved with your passion. So that's also something that I really learned from him. I have observed as a performer with regards to this is taking your children to performances. So not just not just having them in classes and doing arts, but also creating that sense of wonder from having them watch performances. I find is a really valuable way to create interest. I find that as an educator, the goal is to have students be interested in them after the fact that they have to be interested in them. So they leave home, they go to college, and they're still like, oh, I want to go see this concert, or I want to be involved in this art, in some way. That to me is, wow, okay, like this has touched this person. And I think creating that sense of wonder comes from them watching a lot of performances. When I was a kid, my mom used to take me to Carnatic music performances. In the beginning, I would fall asleep during the ragam or during some part, or I was really bored. And then that grew into maybe I would go and eat something when I would get bored. Then I met friends that I liked at these concerts, and then we would always make sure we were there for the taniyat and the percussion part. We really thought that was the coolest part. That grew into having favorite artists, and then now these friends that I might have had when I was a kid, we like, kind of help each other and support each other in our like artistic endeavors. And maybe, and some children or some kids, like they end up not liking, or they find other interests. But having just that exposure, I think that's a really, really important part of just like learning any art. And I think that that's a great part of the journey. Like even if a child doesn't pursue an art, just the memory of like going and attending shows and things like that is just like something that's very pure and very unadulterated. Like it can be really beautiful. I did this collaboration with Srinidhi Raghavan and Arun Matai. It was I like kind of re-choreographed this show about friendship called Mitra, where it was just completely about friendship, different ways. And I saw these like two very young girls, but they were like holding hands. And so for them, probably coming to the show together was part of the experience, right? That's fine. And for them, a show that at least gestures to friendship, that's also a theme that they can digest, instead of something that is maybe very difficult, more deep for them to digest. And that's okay. At the beginning, maybe not everything is seen, and then you start to read more and more into it, and that's okay. The levels, the layers of the onion that you peel, that's fine. I think that's what's so beautiful about the art. I think dance is like, there are so many factors that can happen in a performance. When you teach, the people that you meet, interpersonal skills, right? Crisis management in a concert situation. So sometimes when I'm going through something at like school, or when I was teaching at work, I would always think about like these like really time sensitive issues with my performance career or something like that. And also like the monetary concerns, right? Like performers, especially now with COVID-19, so many artists have lost, you know, sources of income. And so I often think about how the uncertainty of the arts is something that you can learn a lot from. So always these questions are always hard for me, because I don't know. But like, I would say to never stop asking questions, and B, to never be deterred by the notion of failure, right? Because I think that 10 years ago, or like however many years ago, these two can really impact like your artistry. And so I just think that curiosity and tenacity can help an artist a great deal. My favorite teachers and artists are by far ones who, despite any setbacks, have, pushed through and kept going. And I've been really moved by their performances and what they have shared as a result. And so that's probably what I would say. And also like with regards to questioning, I think it's like adding that adds perspective. So if you learn a piece, then question it, then question that, then keep questioning that. Recently I was working on a piece on Ravana. That was another production that I worked with Shri Tina and Shruti Abhishek, which was linked to some of what I've studied in graduate school, where I'm trying to look at Ravana from different perspectives. And that came only as a result of me pushing back and asking all of us, like question after question after question. And I think that can like really kind of stimulate this artistic process. I think that everybody has something that works for them.
Mm-hmm.
And people will often give you advice, and you should just do what works for you. Yeah. I think that that's important. And I think that what works for you, whether it's regards to mental health, physical health, and well-being, and what pushes you and your curiosity that's the most important. And so that's going to be my advice. I don't think I'm in a place to really know more than that, but that's what I'll say.
No, thank you so much for the message.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for spending your time with us. And